The Moors, who had occupied the Iberian Peninsula for nearly 7 centuries, had steadily been pushed back by the Christian kingdoms. The last Muslim outpost, Granada, fell in AD 1492, a year that saw a great exodus of Moors and Jews alike from all the Spanish lands, including Malta, where St. Paul's seeds had finally borne full fruit. Who in Malta survived such upheaval? Men of one religion, but of mixed blood and sundry allegiances. Their language was a jumble of Arabic, Semitic, and Italian. Their dress and culture a muddle of East and West. Their rulers an Aragonese-installed oligarchy of noble families on whose fiefs the peasants, the one constant of Malta, labored without end. Through its history, Malta suffered pestilence and plague and pillaging monarchs, droughts and corsairs and broiling summers. Though scorned for the poverty of its culture, arable land, and people, Malta was yet coveted for its perfect harbors and strategic location, which commanded the sea lanes between Africa and Sicily. It was this location, coupled with the rise of Ottoman power in the Eastern Sea, that granted the island an importance out of all proportion to its size. Malta was placed squarely into history's destiny in the early years of the 16th century AD by a self-serving act of another Holy Roman Emperor, Charles V of Spain, who installed the island's most recent rulers, the Knights of St. John of Jerusalem. Malta, a tiny and coarse island, a mere 6 leagues long by 3 wide, no bigger in that great sea than a grain of sand upon a beach. Yet, oh, what a grain! What fortunes turned upon it! From Volume 7, The Great Campaigns, Malta. Chapter 1. Malta, 1552. On the morning the slavers came, the children were looking for treasure. Swept up in their purpose, they didn't see the mast of the corsair galley, all but obscured by the high rocks surrounding the cove where the ship had anchored in the night. They didn't see the dead sentry hanging upside down on the watchtower. It was Bartolomeo, an older boy who lived on their own street, his throat cut deep as he slept, cut from ear to ear. His blood had already baked dry on the platform from which he was to have sounded the alarm, a platform from which his killers had stolen several planks of wood. The children didn't see Bartolomeo because they were hiding from him, keeping to the deep gullies or crouching behind the low stone walls that separated fields so dry and barren that even the crows didn't bother to scavenge there anymore. As long as they stayed behind those walls, they knew Bartolomeo couldn't glimpse them and spoil their plans. He would do that, and just for spite. Bartolomeo was plain mean. They couldn't see or hear the stream of galley slaves snaking along the ravine 100 paces to the east, men laboring in silence as they hauled water beneath the watchful eyes of their guards. And they couldn't smell the galley, because the wind was at their backs, a maestral blowing from the northwest. With the right winds, the smell of a galley preceded the sight, the stench an unmistakable herald of danger. Had they smelled it, they would have known the scent of doom. There would have been time to fear, time to flee. Today, however, they smelled nothing but Maria's dreams. "Father's going to whip us," Nico said solemnly. He was breathing heavily, struggling to keep up with his sister as she led him toward the southern coast of Malta. The limestone over which they ran baked under a sun that was already scorching despite the early hour. "We're supposed to be cleaning out the dung pit." "He'll never know," Maria said. She moved like quicksilver over the rocks, threading her way barefooted between stands of prickly pear. She was 13, but small for her age, athletic and lean, her figure as yet betraying no sign that she was a girl. Her clothes were worn through in spots, and she carried a knife in her belt. Her hair was cut short and ragged like a boy's. Her face was smeared with grime, her skin deeply browned by the sun, her green eyes lit with determination and adventure. "He's busy today, seeing the Capo Mastro for..."